Hi, so what is a storybook? As its official site says, Storybook is an open source tool for building UI components and pages in isolation. And this is a pretty important word, isolation. It comes from isolate, and Google defined it. It identifies something and examine or deal with it separate. Usually, when we build components without isolation, we try to attach the business logic or the states of the page or the application very tight to our components. So when we build our components totally isolated, we create a component that is truly reusable because we are breaking the strong dependencies from our component. For instance, imagine that you are going to create an autocomplete component. If you create that autocomplete component inside a page that you are building, let's say the users list, you might end up doing a lot of logic related to the users. And later, you might want to use an autocomplete for products. And then you have a problem. Maybe it's very attached to the users itself. So if you want to really make that autocomplete component very reusable, you might want to call it items. And that's why it's very important to create the components in an isolated environment, because then you don't really think about if it's going to be people or it's going to be products. You're just going to receive items and you will name the things and create the things in a very general, reusable way. So Storybooks is a very powerful tool because a part of the isolation approach is also a sandbox for development, because then we can use this sandbox for start creating our components. We don't need to create like a new page specifically for start testing our components. It also works as a showcase for our stakeholders. So stakeholders can take a look into our storybook and see if everything is correct according with the requirements. It also works as a UI component doc, as you notice in my screenshot before, of if you have navigate to the Zero components project. It basically says what are the props that the components have, what are the values that you can introduce, and it's pretty nice because later you or your team can forget how the component work, and you just go into Storybook and you can check the different props and change them a bit in real time how the component is going to look. And finally, it also works as a testing environment. Storybook is doing a strong work, making easy to test our components in so many aspects, testing the structure, testing the behavior directly in Storybook without replicate efforts. So in our next lesson, we are going to see how we can install Storybook for React. See you in the next one.